Well, what a pleasure. I'm absolutely delighted now to be joined by the incoming ICMA President Pat Martel. Pat, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
It's my pleasure.
Interesting. May you live in interesting times, the Chinese proverb goes, and you're certainly going to be a president in interesting times.
I certainly am. There's a lot of change ahead for ICMA. With the transition of our executive leadership in the organization in this coming year, and a recruitment process that we are just beginning at the present time to find a suitable replacement for someone who has had profound influence on our organization and the profession.
Let me start with you there. I mean, how do you do that? Right? I mean, we all know Bob, and I've interviewed Bob 10 times around this table, and we all greatly admire Bob. So how do you go about replacing somebody like Bob O'Neill?
Well, the initial steps that we're taking here at the conference is really to solicit input from our members and to identify those qualities that the members believe should be considered when we develop a profile for the person or individuals who will be seeking to be candidates. Membership input is really important because the executive director position, and especially Bob, many people refer to him as the rock star of our profession because he's done such a tremendous job as a thought leader, as someone who has really been a leading edge practitioner in terms of bringing new information and best practices to our profession. So it's going to be tough. But the world changes, and so as we look to the future, many of the qualities that Bob possesses and excels at exhibiting and demonstrating in his work will be probably among the things that we're looking for, but we may be looking at other things as well. So I think that one of the things that people have talked about is looking for very diverse candidates. And I think that will be a focal point. I think that the capability to lead the organization itself and lead our staff at ICMA is very, very important. But also someone who is aware of the global impact of ICMA. So all of those elements will come to play in the candidates we look at.
It's really interesting because the other thing you picked up on there is the world changes and the role of the ICMA changes within that. And I know you'll also be working on a new strategic plan. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I think that is going to be one of the cornerstones of the work that we do in the coming year. As the world changes, so does the association, our profession, our cities and counties around the world. And so we've appointed a task force that will be examining those changes and how ICMA can respond to those changes and how we can position ourselves to address those changes in the next 5 to 10 years. I think one of the dramatic changes that we're also going to experience, and we talk a lot about it now, is the next generation of public managers. As the baby boomers are increasingly, in increasing numbers retiring, we have to position, our mid-career leaders to be ready to assume an executive leadership role in our communities around the world. And I think there will be a big emphasis in our strategic plan on how do we do that best? How do we prepare the next generation of leaders to be able to deal with a changing world?
One of the interesting things you said there about change and the nature of change, when you were talking about Bob and you were talking about diversity, that whole issue of diversity is also a big issue for all of us, but for city managers, isn't it?
It certainly is. We are seeing tremendous demographic shifts across this country. And as a result, we have to do an effective job in our communities to better reflect those changing demographics in our local agencies. We need organizations that are made up of people that reflect the communities that we serve, so that we're better able to identify the needs of the community going forward. I think it's very important for our emerging leaders that are considering careers in public service to also be able to see the people they want to be, and reflecting that diversity at the city manager level, at the assistant level, encouraging more women to advance in the profession to executive level positions is also going to be a very big push in this coming year, and in terms of identifying ways that we can help support the advancement of women in the profession.
Well, Pat, you've got your work cut out. Thank you ever so much indeed for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Look forward to catching up back with you in Kansas. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.